We should next year maybe have a booze company provide this, and we should be drinking real quick. But congratulations to whoever wins after me. I know there's some awards, and there's some amazing tech out there, and I can't wait to get on with it. But let's start at the start. This industry's tough. I love this quote by Marshall McLuhan. There are absolutely no passengers on Spaceship Earth, man. We're absolutely all crew. Days of stuff being super simple and easy, gone. Doesn't matter how much technology is thrown at you, man. It's not making things easier. It's making more decisions harder, in my humble opinion. And so with that, let me give you a quick introduction. I work for Verizon Media. So I work on the parts of the pipes and the publishing on the top of it. And that's the thing that's really interesting, because if you think about it, there's only 3 things I care about in our industry, brothers and sisters. And it's really, firstly, I give a shit about culture. That's why I love being here. And I love speaking to you guys. You can easily switch from multiple languages. I struggle with English, but I'm going to run pretty quickly in half an hour. You're going to get all that shit. And it's amazing how quick you guys can navigate that. And so that's why I always love being in Germany. But here's what's amazing about culture. Every single thing that succeeds on planet Earth, in my humble opinion, is a combination of culture and code. And with that comes creativity. So I'm going to be an ambassador of that today. I'm not just going to sit here talking about hubs and witches, which we could do, but I'd much rather talk about the combination of that, how it's applied. Really, if you know about this quote, obviously, imagination is more important than knowledge, is Einstein's. Now, most of you know that he stumbled across the quantum theory. God bless. He didn't invent it. That was God's job. But he stumbled upon it. But what I love about this is that you probably don't know that he was a classically trained violinist, concert level. So what I love about that is the combination of culture and code. It's the combination of the art and the human and the science. And here we go, man. If we think about it, the number one buzzword in 2018 with every single brand that I spoke to was disruption. And that's really what you guys are talking about with AI, isn't it? But the truth is this. Disruption is, it's really a buzzword of 18, but that really transformed into experience. So what are we doing to make sure that we have this connection? Because we want technology to soften the edges. We want it to feel like it's humanized in some respect. And I think the new buzzword is clearly about transformation. What are we doing to take all of these signals and transform our businesses? Right. So we're at the cusp of the 4th industrial revolution. I'm sure you heard that today. And why? Because look, man, we started out in steam. Great, awesome. But then we moved quickly to the big switch of electricity, and the grubby things in our hands is computing. But we're moving to intelligence. Intelligence has been creeping up on us for the last 20 years, and it's the thing that is really powering the 4th industrial revolution. So what's that look like? In my mind, it's about creative AI. Or for me, it's just really simple, always inspiring. It's not about artificial intelligence. That shit's way too hard for me, man. I'm a creative, so I want it to soften. Because these are the things that people want to harass me about. You want to talk about this at happy hour? Awesome. AR, VR, MR, AI. You want to talk about vulnerability, schemas, privacy, security, blocking, all that shit. But the thing I don't want to talk about, or the only thing I ever want to talk about, is the thing nobody talks about anymore. Fun. That's the reason I got into this industry, because it was based on fun. Connecting with 7 billion people on planet Earth, man. That's the reality of what I think is cool. But let's talk about it. My story goes back about 20 years. I moved from Australia to New York City. I'm from a country that had 5 TV shows. No, stations actually, felt like 5 TV shows. But the reality was that when I moved to New York, man, I bought that TV. And I subscribed to a provider that gave me 99 channels of crap. So I took that TV in the first week I moved to New York, I kicked it out in the hallway and said, free TV. I have not had a screen in my environment for the last 20 years, apart from the bloody thing that's burning a hole in my pocket. But the beautiful thing about that is, I decided to go all digital. I thought it was trusted, I thought it was safe, I knew when, where, what, why, and how I was connecting with humans. And about 4 years ago, my relationship to digital completely went pear-shaped. It completely changed. It went from trust to massive anxiety. And now when I fire up my phone in the morning, I experience misery and sports. And if I feel like that, maybe you feel like that. If you feel like that, the brand you represent feels like that. And we're sitting in this weird place today. But it happened to me about 4 years ago, man. And look, the thing that we suck at is trust. We've lost it. We don't trust our government, our religion, our society, our news. We don't trust each other. We don't trust falls anymore. So trust is a problem. But the simple premise of why we're here, particularly in our industry, is try and get people to brands and brands to people. Sounds easy. The gig is bloody hard, man. Because now you have to have a 360-degree radius of every single person on planet Earth. That's the new. You stick in your lane, you will die. So you have to have a radius. And the other thing about that is that you need to be open to the community of humans. Awesome. I hear it masked as data. Data is the dirtiest word of 2018. If you did not reassess your relationship with social media in January 2018, welcome to the end. Wow, data czars, troubled job, man. Because data itself is amazing, but boy, it can also, with amazement, can come the sorrows. But here's what's amazing from my perspective. Most brands say, hey man, our audience is getting older, we're trying to target youth. Like, great. But the reality is, they both are amazing audiences. But the truth is, what I'm hearing more in 19 already is, how do I have direct relationships and how can I trust that? Well, data is going to be the anchor of that. So is it all rainbows and butterflies? Of course not. I mean, things are way less cool than they used to be, man. It's way practical now. And what's really amazing from my perspective is it's more about services. Exactly what you're providing, services. It doesn't matter what industry we're in, what category we're in, we're providing services to enable better connections with humans on planet Earth. And here's where it becomes interesting. Personalization, baseline, old school. What I want to know is that you know me, but don't think you know me well enough because I want to customize it. Hyper customization, because I want to be my identity needs to be whole. And humanization, soften the edges of technology, because that's really what we're trying to do. And if you speak to people at Harvard, they say these are all the humans on planet Earth categorized for you. Great, that's one way to think about psychographic targeting, by psychographic. Or you could even trust the Maslow rule of hierarchy. Needs in the wild. Love this. The only thing missing from this clearly is high-speed internet. But the thing that's amazing for me is technology has changed our behavior. But there are certain things that we have in the DNA of humans that can never be replaced, in my humble opinion, of technology. Like this. Thank God we still need human touch. Otherwise, we're all in trouble, man. But the reality is this. If you understand the human need, that's half the job of fulfilling it. That's why we're trying to build services around it. So what does tech human mean? Well, from my perspective, it's a bit like this. Technology that allows you to get feedback from humans, like this teddy bear that a kid holds, and it gives you biofeedback to understand if it's sick enough to go to hospital. All these things from the Nordics, little buttons that you press to do multi-language variables. So block programming to do multiple things in your houses, for example, not on your cell phone. Or if you think about this stuff, AI-driven Barbie dolls, man. That, by the way, can get hacked, which is a whole nother level of fun that I've seen out there. Or you've got this sort of stuff. You're getting feedback to be able to coordinate better human connections, perhaps. This sort of thing. This is connected Tupperware. So I buy bags of spinach, by the way, so I can watch them rot in my refrigerator. But these are connected Tupperware, so you can add your produce to these particular devices, and they ping you and let you know when you should be utilizing the best use by date for your products and services. Kind of cool. This sort of thing. So wearables that are now in a category of doing things that are very useful, like this type of wearable that will actually give you direct feedback on how to give you directions. Or these are mood rings, man. They change color based on your wardrobe. That's intelligence used intelligently, in my humble opinion. Smart packaging. The only thing that's smart on this bottle of water, it's not even here, man, would be a barcode. Or it could be really uncool, could have a QR code on it, dude. That shit only works in Asia, heads up. But what's amazing for me is if you think about this is an RFID temporary tattoo. It has RFID in ink. So what you can normally do on a screen and a computer can be done on your skin. And this is the sort of element of where we're going to have smart products speaking to smart packaging. And that's where smart packaging will really revolutionize. Probably in the next 10 years, be valued at about a $25 billion industry, it's rumored. And then you've got these sort of things like sensors. L'Oreal has this sensor product that can go outside and monitor, keep pinging you on your SPF sunscreen that you should be wearing, because it's constantly giving you feedback for that data collection. Because this category of wearables today has not really taken off, has it? Most people have one for a while and then they stop using it simply because it does the same goddamn thing your phone does. And it ran out of battery 6 months ago, and you stop socializing the fact you walk 10,000 steps because nobody gives a shit about it. So the reality is, we are trying to find useful place for these things. Some look like they're from the past, some look like they're from the future. They're amazing, but there's a couple that are really helping. Like this. Look at this particular wearable. It's Braille. So it's helping sight impaired. Little tiny insights can create a revolution for people who really do find it hard to navigate. Or this thing. This is a wearable that creates an ultrasonic sound wave from your wrist to the tip of your finger. So to take calls and listen to messages, guys, you just hold your finger to your ear. Amazing. It's probably going to give you finger cancer too, dude, but whatever. You can deal with that another time. But let's think about this. This is another wearable that does something different. This is called Pavlov. This wearable will shock you if you do something you said you're not going to do. So if you reach for that third beer tonight at happy hour, this shit's going to just shock you. So we're finding things that are different, thank God. Check this out, guys. Can I get some sound, please? No. Yes, thank you.
If a player is tackled, then you get to feel the physical effect of that. If a player is nervous before a kick, then you get fluttering, you get that kind of sensory.
Haptic platables. So when you see these wearables, what are they really used for? They're there for experiences. Those sensory experiences to make you feel like you know what it's like to be a footballer by watching it sitting in your basement. They're the sort of things that people are trying to do, man, and that's brought to you by a media company. The fact your friends get to touch you is a whole nother level of goodness. And here's another thing that's interesting. Probably the creepiest thing I've seen for a long time is this. This is a 3D dress that will morph and change based on your biometric. So if you think about it, the person looking at you, it determines whether you're trying to attract or distract them, and the dress grows accordingly. Isn't that crazy? I'll have sound as well, thank you. Just keep it hot the whole time. Just keep the sound on, thanks. No? Okay, we'll do it next time. Can I have the sound up? Just keep it hot. I'll turn it off myself, thank you. Because I want to talk about sound. Who in here has a Google or an Alexa?
Hello?
Amazing.
No.
And what's amazing is this, man. From my perspective,
No.
if you think about the power of this,
No.
when you think about the power of it, somebody's
No.
telling me no. They want me off? Awesome. I'm out. Oh, 1 second. That's probably me in the background. Is that really me in the background? Sound AV guy, can you give me a wave? Is that me, or is it somebody else giving me a crazy signal? Telling me no, no, no with a dog, dog, dog. Is it me? It is me.
That's a bug.
1 second. See, this is the power of technology right here, guys. Watch me shit the bed. You guys cool? Are we okay so far? All right, hang on. Let me just see what's going on here. Yeah, the data has come to take me away, haha. Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, that sound's coming from me, huh? What could it possibly
Come on.
be? It's that goddamn thing. Right, now keep it hot. Thank you, my friend. Saving me while I was falling on my own ass. Sound. So with these devices, it's incredible how many people do not do services. How many people just ask for weather, or they just connect it to do their shopping list. Really pretty naff things. I think that natural language has a long way to go, man. My Siri and my Google, my Alexa, all set to Australian accent. And I have a hybrid Australian accent, man. It has a real hard time understanding me. So I think it has a long way to go. But if you think about the power of brand, and you think about the power of sound, sound gives you something we haven't had before. It now gives you the ability to have feedback. And with that, you can do things that are super creative, and that's great. But a lot of brands also forget about brand sound. I think brand sound is something that should come back. I mean, whose brand is this? Intel. In 3 seconds, you said Intel. It's powerful when you think about what you can do with sound recognition for brand experiences. So that's something we need to think about in terms of how we connect people.
どうして火星から来た男、金星から来た女っていうか知ってる？
Since men and women are so different.
So, smart technologies are also thinking about this now, aren't they? They're thinking about how can we use sound to make sure the world is global but is a little smaller. So this is a headset by Mars that allows you wear one and me wear one, and when you speak in your native tongue, it translates for me in real time. The challenge with this is it's always a bit slow, and men and women don't date like this anymore, so this will never work. But what I do find amazing is that this is really interesting technologies to try and understand how we connect. And so that's where I think the sound is going. Virtual reality is also an interesting thing when we think about experiences across AI. The idea today is that when you go and watch a film, if you and I watch the same film, if we check out the same scene, you could laugh, I could cry. But the content never changes. It's the same. It's a linear story. That's how we grew up. But the promise of this stuff is we go from a different environment where we can choose our own adventure. Or really what we're having is a paralleled reality, meaning if you laugh and I cry, we're served up different experiences. Today you can't really do that. It's very difficult and extremely expensive to do that en masse. But that's the promise of where we're headed with things like VR. But the reality is this. It's a pretty cool experience. You've all tried it on. It's amazing. You don't give a shit who's around you when you're wearing this stuff. And it's incredible how visceral it can be. But it's really not designed for mass. It's designed for intimacy in a different way. And so data signals in here could be pretty impressive. But it's been around a long time. I do love companies that allow people to on-ramp and off-ramp correctly, though. So this is Nintendo that allows kids to build a product like a jetpack before you immerse them in the VR experience. It's pretty cool. And so if you think about where VR is headed, though, it's headed to places like Asia. Check this out. So apparently every fantasy realized this is clearly the G-rated version of this thing, but that's kind of where these experiences are going. We're trying to make these visual experiences that are multi-sensory. like scent and touch, called sentient. Yeah, but if you don't think that AR is a thing, you need to go to places like China, man. They're building products that physically are trying to bring the bridge between the real reality and virtual reality together in an experience for children. They aren't smartphone driven. These are designed for little kids, little hands, big screens. They're pretty amazing to see where that's headed. But it's not just limited to screens. Remember we talked about sound. I mean, Bose is coming out with AR sunglasses. So this is not camera technology, this is AR. So as I'm walking around, it's got another voice in my head. I already have enough voices in my head, by the way. I don't know if I want another one. But this is where Bose is headed. So I love that. But sometimes we need to understand that we should ground ourselves in reality, maybe. Check it.
This is the Jaguar F-Type simulator. It's just sitting on a 6-axis hydraulic platform here. Roll you around, lift up, down.
How rough are we getting that?
Once you're wearing this helmet, that's really going to simulate exactly what it's going to be like on the track.
Very cool.
Make sure you brace yourself. Good luck.
Okay, Glenn, I'm about to start the ride.
Welcome to Jaguar Virtual Simulator. A full sensory experience. Combined with so keep hold of the grab handles. Are you ready to experience the power of Jaguar F-Type?
And then you know what happens, guys, she shits herself. But here's the reality. Sometimes it's better to understand that your physical experience of a brand is better than anything we do digitally. But we need to bridge those two and make sure it feels like it all comes from the same type of experience. And then, of course, we talk about automation. And automation in the real world is this sort of stuff. Things like Foldy Mate. This is a product that folds a basket of clothing in like a few minutes. Because apparently we're too lazy to fold our own clothes now. Or automation like this. This is a car seat automator. This will go ahead and sort of auto set your car seat because humans are too dumb and lazy to set up car seats correctly, apparently. Or things like this, personalized robots designed to do the job basically of the human to check or not check whether your baby is crying or not. But this is really interesting because perhaps all of these efficiencies are designed for what? To give us more time. To do what? I don't know. Maybe spend more time in the living room. Who knew? But these are all coming at you for automations. Even this sort of automation. So frictionless e-commerce, the ability to identify somebody as they walk into a retail experience and say, I'm a prospect versus a customer, auto charge me or not. These things are all happening with incredible amount of data. But people, we have to realize that maybe we're not looking after this character. Maybe this is not the guy we're trying to target. That's the so what for me. Because if we think about our industry today, it started out with like cinema advertising. I'm sorry, nobody likes Kevin, but whatever, dude. And then we went to TV. And then we've gone to this thing. And then we're told maybe we need to market to circular, rectangular, triangular with different needs. And that's cool. But at the end of the day, we need to think about our world differently because it started out in the 4 Ps. Price, place, promotion, blah, blah. Those things are rubbish. It's been updated to things like platforms, pedigree, partnerships, and performance. The real 4 Ps. Because the original 4 Ps were invented in 1948, man. Shit's changed. And the reality is this. The business really, what we're trying to do is move people emotionally. With sight, sound, and motion. Because 75% of purchase decisions are sold emotionally. And then we justify those decisions to the head. And if you think about it, it started out in an industry that was all about big ads, little content. And then we went all content, little ads. And what's amazing for me is that this is for real. You guys, who has an ad blocker on their machine? Oh my God, and you're in the industry. That's like 80% of you, overwhelmingly. Like, dude, I'm in tech, screw you. Whatever. But the reality is this, as soon as we get these sort of signals, what happens? We hijack the goddamn internet with bullshit memes. We forget about the long road, the DNA as to why people should care. And the truth is, every brand wants to target every single person on planet Earth and then have a deep, intimate knowledge of them at the same time. That stuff is hard, man, because I thought programmatic was problematic as a creative. But the reality is, data and creativity live together. Because without data, there's no creativity. Without creativity, there's no data. That's why we need to stay together. And the reality also is when you do know where people are located, which is the one thing I love most, because it understands what needs look like when you know where somebody's located. And the beautiful thing about that is the context of what people want. And we want to deliver value, which is radically different than advertising. So, signals, you heard it already. Over noise, you heard that already. The perfect thing is, well, what are we talking about? Personalized is old school. Contextualized is current. And where it's going is predictive. Can we actually understand what needs are wanting in the future of this stuff? Quite possibly. But fundamentally understand this. The open social network, I think, is dead. And what I mean by that is today you've been able to buy them in the open social network for the last 10 years, God bless. But the world is really closing itself down. And I think Instagram's probably the last example of that. Who's on Instagram in here? Great. Whose Instagram is private? Great. Oh my God. Like 80% of us, mostly dudes, which I never see. So if we do that for high school kids, same thing. WhatsApp, Line, Snapchat, blah, blah, all closed. So those internet-connected networks of humans is where intimacy happens. And we're trying to drive to intimacy. Why? Because transaction can also happen there. In 2011, by the way, I said that defriend unfollow was going to be a trend. People thought I was batshit crazy. And I mean it. We're moving to these sort of environments that feels like closed networks, interconnected relationships that move away from conversation to commerce, because intimacy can happen. In WeChat in China, Dior launched that bag, only available in WeChat, sold out 48 hours. Price of that bag is about $2,200. So there is high value that can happen there. So does there need to be calm in the chaos? Of course there does. Because at the end of the day, we have an overwhelming amount of media messaging. About 1,900 hits you every single day. And then it's underwhelming because you can't find what you're looking for. And if you think about it, brothers and sisters, one of the largest contributors to stress today is media overload. So heads up. The shit that you're producing on behalf of the brands you represent are stressing people out and killing them. Just kidding. This room was heavy before I walked in here, dude. But here's the beautiful reality. It does not matter what technology comes at us. We all have 24 hours in the day. So how we assign our attention to that is the most critical thing moving forward. Because that's where tech becomes powerful, particularly in a world where we have tech neck, where people open and close and touch and fidget in the high end about 5,000 times a day. But we're trying to drive advocacy here, guys. We're trying to drive advocacy from a world that was based on awareness, because people become power users. And that's critically important, particularly the younger generation. These guys that believe they're the slash gen, these little bastards. And personal expression is the new form of entertainment. You know that extreme selfies are a thing, right? The second tallest building in Hong Kong. There are more people dying from extreme selfies than shark attacks. But here's the deal. What's going to happen when the robots come to take our job? Well, I think the challenge today is when we think about machine learning, it's not good enough. We need to turn it around the other way. And we need to curate. We need to go wide with our knowledge, hand it off to the humans to help facilitate better human relationships. So, let me pause there. To stop right now would put us back on time. Can I go 5 minutes over? Yes. All right. Well, okay, I had 2 yeses. I'm going to go ahead. Jesus. The good thing about data, it tells you what to do. It doesn't tell you how to do it. That's the job that we have, guys. And the reality of that is, look at this. Nutella did this particular signal. So people want to be personalized. So they came up with 7 million different variations on their designs. You think designers want to do that? But the machine did. Or creative art directors. Look at this guy. This is a robot against the man. They're not quite there yet, but we love to see what happens when we infer this. So the strongest thing I can leave you with is point of view matters. You need a point of view. Point of view matters in this world. Like this. This is the All Blacks. This is a rugby jersey that when they get tackled, it exposes an equality flag. It softens the edges of a masculine sport. Well, McDonald's did this. If you have an iconic brand, you can just create a signal. Or if you're Lacoste, you can replace the iconic logo of the crocodile and replace it with a limited edition range of animals that are being killed, limited to the range that are left. You can only buy those t-shirts on the black market. It's sold out in 24 hours, which apparently is where you buy the animals, goddammit, because humans suck. Or this is IKEA. They're even trying to innovate in paper, which is if you think you're pregnant, you pee on this page, and if you are, it reveals a high discount for that crib. Amazing. And this, Coca-Cola, the signal was they don't want their plastic ending up in the middle of our ocean, so they changed all the bottle tops in Vietnam to allow you to have something that lives in your living room as a bubble blower or a water pistol. Or this, these guys said, hey, we changed the logistics company, we had a terrible PR nightmare, we're going to embrace that, and with that infuses a whole bunch of fun. Because what happens is that brands are loved if they're surprising. And if you surprise somebody, they're more likely to share. And that's still something we care about. So here's the deal. Can we reflect back cultural change as marketing? And if you do, you'll end up with things like the ability to hack your brand. And that's important because if you think about it, today, people want to make stuff, people want to hack stuff. So if you can infuse that in brands and create these new experiences to be able to create noise outside of what's already super noisy, because what we see today is technology creates these fragmentations. We need to create fusion. And better fusion maybe means doing less on places where you just have better engagement. Because remember, the gig is sight, sound, and motion to create emotion, particularly in a world today where we feel like we want trust instilled, but it's super anxious. And to do that from my mind, if I was really practical about it, is that we have to stop doing this crap. It's no longer storytelling, or story yelling in our industry. We need to tell good stories, put them in smart places. So if you're able to do that, you can end up getting the signals that could help drive a great creative outcome that could only be delivered, I believe, from the human. Let's check this out.
Monty, gear. Good. Wait. Good boy. Gear. Good. Wait.
Turn on the ignition. Let's go. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy.
Ride with me.
Good boy.
On the streets right now.
You guys are sitting there going, oh my God, what the hell is Shingy showing me? So look, in New Zealand, the dog rescue company said, hey, we figured it out that we think that dogs are smart enough to drive, and they created a point of view around it. It's not even shot very well. It's pretty amazing. What's incredible is that this dog drives better than my mum does. And what's incredible about this is it's just a way to think about how to engage with humans on planet Earth in a way that's very different to what the machine could have delivered. Because remember, it's still about human-to-human marketing in this crazy space. We could go on forever, guys. This video goes on forever, but this is an unbelievable piece of work that we saw take off. But I'm reminded by this quote by Katharine Hepburn. I leave you with this tonight and take this message into your workshops tomorrow, which is if you obey all the rules, you miss all the goddamn fun.